Now you asked me a deep question.
I did.
Yeah, you went straight to you went straight to Paris. You know, we were in Pickens. You went to Paris. Yeah, I mean, you want me to start from the beginning of Hideoki, or you want me to just kind of tell you the evolution of it? You know, this is where it all started right here, on this court. I was young though, you know what I'm saying? I was like about, I don't know, about 12 years old when I first started coming to the park. You know, the big guys used to play. So they was like, you can't play. So I used to go on that court, play a little bit, couldn't even make a layup. I made up in my mind I was gonna come down here and practice. And I went back and I made the team. And eventually I grew up and I started playing with the big boys right here on this court. I mean, this is what made us, you know? This is what made me who I am. Part of what made me who I am. This is where I grew up at, you know? Look at you.
Hey, baby.
Come on out here. How you doing?
I'm good.
Miss you.
I miss you too.
I was surrounded by a lot of women growing up. I had the opportunity to get to know 4 grandmothers, and they all was decked out. You know, if I showed you pictures of my great-grandmother, she'll have on a fur coat with a hat tilted to the side. She was clean. I feel like that was one of the things I always looked at in them, that they always presented themselves in the right manner, in the right fashion, in the right moments, you know what I'm saying? And they always made sure I was presented in the right form, in the right fashion.
He was really dressed, you know. I'm talking about, you know, he loved, well, I can say this. Dedrick loved to look good. And that's just point blank. He loved to look good. He wanted his shoes right. He wanted his shirt right, his pants right, his hair right, everything. And growing up in this small town, that's just the way he was. He's himself.
At Mississippi State, I didn't know at the time what I wanted to major in. I was like, I wanted to be a doctor one day, you know? I wanted to major in biology. So that's what I did. I majored in biology. The first week in biology, after looking at frogs and legs and insects, I said, I gotta get up out of there. So I switched over to industrial engineering quick. And I selected industrial engineering because, you know, to me, it was a broad way of doing it. It taught you about business. Hideoki is actually my middle name. It's Dedrick Hideoki Hajawara Thomas. That name was originated by my mother. She was reading a photography book and she saw the name. It's a famous photographer from Japan, so she liked the name. My grandmother didn't want me to have the name because she said, girl, ain't nobody gonna be able to pronounce that boy name. If you look on my birth certificate, the name is actually crossed out, but she first signed it as Dedrick Thomas. But my grandmother left and went home, then she crossed it out. My mother crossed it out and signed it as Hideoki Hajawara. That's how I ended up with the name, so I always said I was gonna do something with it. So throughout my entrepreneurship on my supply chain management and logistics side, you know, I made a lot of contacts in the manufacturing space and the wholesale space of luxury goods. So I made some connections and I started my company basically out of the trunk of my car. Now, my Panerai requires a look between sporty and elegance. So I'll take it and pair it with my Donegal tweed here. This is like on a chilly day out in New York. I'm just chilling, relaxing, going out to dinner, little cocktail after. What my Panerai does for me is make sure that, like a Hideoki garment does, seize the moment for the night, handling business. Bam. Our whole motto has always been, it's a lifestyle, it's an experience. That's what Hideoki is all about. And actually I said to myself, man, I need to make sure it's complete. And I decided to go and acquire a Panerai. And it was my first watch. I just felt like, you know, as I continue to grow the brand, I need to embody what it's all about. I got my Superman armor on, was seizing the moment. Going from engineering to fashion was it wasn't really a progression for me. It was more of, I saw it as an opportunity for another business. I mean, even with Hideoki, you know, Hideoki has created other type of business opportunities for me related to networking opportunities, real estate opportunities. I've always been a businessman, and for me, going from engineer to fashion and making clothes, designing clothes, for me, it was an easy progression because if I could build a warehouse, if I can build a bridge, if I can build a building, I can most definitely construct and build a suit or a garment or a pair of shoes. It's an easy progression, you know?
I love a man in a suit. You know, the traditional pieces that he makes are my favorites. He did a pinstripe with the girls' names in it. Like, I didn't even know you could do that. But for him to have his daughter's names like in his work was like art, and then it was like love, and it was like, okay, this is what it's about.
This is a mustard corduroy suit. Has a vintage feel to it with the tab, paired with a nice cashmere turtleneck. I love to also wear my Cartier Santos with this because it has a refined feel to it along with the leather buttons. Very nice and elegant patch pocket. But you know, really, because I have options, give me a second, because I have options, what I really would do is wear my Rolex Root Beer GMT with this because it's just nice and elegant, jazzy on the outside, very complicated and elegant on the inside. And it pairs well with the jazziness of this outfit and the wild nature on the inside of all the animals. Very nice and elegant, swaglicious. Hideoki is more than just clothes. Just like a watch is more than just a watch. You know, it's part of a lifestyle, it's part of your everyday life. So I think it's a rite of passage because, like, for me, as I said before, it was part of me understanding that a watch completed my look. When I got up, I put on a nice ensemble. I have to have a nice watch to complete that look, you know? Part of it is being able to tell time too. You gotta be able to tell time. It's the whole aspirational process of what we're developing here and teaching our clients everything that relates to lifestyle, all components of it. Hideoki is dangerous. Rhinos, they don't go backwards. We don't go backwards either. We're only interested in going forward. We remember our past, we respect it, we learn from it, but we're interested in evolving.